You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listing show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly, real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. There has been plenty effort to make R. Kelly break down and to disadvantage him using unlawful methods, but the climax of it all and the most annoying was when the MCC nurses deliberately refused to medicate him like they had been paid to kill him. R. Kelly had serious pain in his left leg and was registering blood clots, but no one seemed to care. Even when he did express concerns himself in a communication from prison, he did not receive any medical attention. Well, this is exactly how Michael Jackson was killed, by taking advantage of his health situation, and we cannot therefore doubt when his fans and supporters imagine they wanted him dead. The government together with the Department of Justice have in alliance made sure to keep R. Kelly in a disadvantaged position from the time his case commenced to date. His basic rights as a U.S. citizen have been repeatedly abused, and most especially his amendment rights, which are meant to protect suspects from injustice. Treated like he was guilty from the start, R. Kelly was presented with an already rigged trial that was only purposed to formally get him locked up and not to determine whether he had committed any crimes or not. It's one thing to anger people or to leave women disappointed, but it's also another thing to commit crime. In R. Kelly's situation, we must all admit women were disappointed, but that is not only with Robert. Women get disappointed and emotionally hurt on a daily, and so do men. However, this does not necessarily mean that the person who disappoints them has committed any crimes. And this is why we have the courts of law to remind citizens that it takes more than mere disappointments and emotional damage to conclude that someone committed a crime. For crime to exist, there must be evidence to prove it. And in the case against R. Kelly, the most scarce factor that was required was evidence which we didn't see. R. Kelly was charged with RICO violation for allegedly committing crimes alone. But only because on the side he had a music business that had employees and runners. The government in confusion deceived the courts that this was proof of an illegal enterprise. If we were to run by the government's idea of a RICO enterprise, then every criminal who has a job, or that co-owns a business, could be charged with RICO violation. You just can't own a company or have a job and at the same time commit crime in the US. The company or organization you work for will quickly qualify as a RICO enterprise for employing a criminal, and you will get 30 years to life in prison. How ironic. What a childish way to approach crime and justice. What a wrong interpretation of the law this is. Meanwhile, blaming this on government alone is not enough, considering the trial judges too allowed such a wrong interpretation of the RICO Act to pass. By charging R. Kelly with RICO, they completely deflected from what the intention of enacting this law was. The law was designed to target organized criminal gangs that engaged in crime as an enterprise, registered or not. Meaning the enterprise in question needed to be rooted in crime as a purpose. In R. Kelly's case, however, the only enterprise we know of is a legal one that was meant to promote his music business, and that's all. And nowhere in the trial arguments can we conclude that R. Kelly in any way used his music management structure as a machinery to commit crime. The team continued to do their described job, which was to plan his events and make sure whoever was supposed to be at the events arrived there on time. To twist this responsibility and use it to suggest that R. Kelly used his management structure to help him commit crimes is wrong and completely out of order. There is no evidence to show that R. Kelly's music management group was in any way rooted in crime as a common purpose, which must be the case for the RICO charges to apply. And this is only one of the many aspects where R. Kelly was put to a disadvantage while the government pursued a major takedown. It's also strange how, when it came to believing stories, the judges chose to believe the women but the man. The entire judgment issued was based on mere stories told by the accusers and not evidence which was clearly unavailable. In the case of Geronda Pace, for example, for whom R. Kelly was charged with forced labor, what was there to show that the events alleged even happened? Nothing. But for some reason, the judges and jurors were open to believing everything that the numerous accusers were ready to say. Even if it was later on proved that some of these accusers, if not all of them, had lied, the courts continued to believe their stories with completely no regard of the much-needed witness credibility. Speaking of witness credibility, a credible witness by definition is one who comes across as competent and worthy of belief. It still remains highly questionable why the courts would believe a set of witnesses who also claimed to be victims that stood to benefit financially if the government won the case, and among whom are individuals who were found to have blatantly lied under oath. And this, in addition to the already mentioned factors, does further demonstrate just how disadvantaged R. Kelly was with regard to the handling of the cases against him. Witnesses such as Azriel Clary had been seen saying quite the opposite on various media channels, but the courts did not think the sudden change of statement shows how unstable they were when it comes to speaking the truth. This alone should have disqualified them as witnesses. Our courts cannot go around believing every single person that is brought to the stand irrespective of such background information that proves they lied on various important issues as these witnesses did. According to Sierra, the case against R. Kelly in Chicago needs to be thrown out because he was already tried and determined not guilty. Trying him again on the same matters was an unforgivable act of double jeopardy. There was no trafficking involved and it was all a he said she said kind of case. I mean, who doesn't get it that this was all a setup by some group of haters? Enough is enough. R. Kelly deserves his freedom back. According to Cheryl Hayes, speaking on systemic racism with regard to the previous video release, it looks like there is always something black artists who command a huge fan base have done wrong and for which they are arrested and charged. Why does it happen that these people, singers or actors, are always determined to have broken the law in one way or another? It appears this is the game the government is using to have all such successful black men defrauded and all their money taken such that they cannot pass it on to their next generations. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.